What if the secret to winning arguments isn't winning at all? Recent studies show that 93% of people who win debates report feeling worse about their relationships afterward.
That's such a striking statistic. It really makes you question what we're actually achieving when we focus on being right instead of understanding each other.
You know, I've been thinking about this concept of being the fool for Christ. It's this ancient spiritual practice that completely flips our modern obsession with winning on its head. Instead of proving our point, we're called to be vulnerable and open.
That's fascinating. How does that actually work in practice?
Well, think about it like this. When we expose someone else's weaknesses or shame them in an argument, we're actually recreating that old story of Noah's nakedness being exposed. But what if we did the opposite? What if we covered others with understanding, even when we disagree?
That reminds me of what Pope Leo said about communication being fundamental to human connection. He emphasized that our words can either build bridges or walls.
Exactly, and here's what's really interesting. Research shows that when people feel heard and respected, they're up to 5 times more likely to consider new perspectives. It's like this psychological safety creates space for actual growth and change.
So what you're saying is that our current approach to debate might actually be working against our goals.
Precisely. And you know what's fascinating? Studies in conflict resolution show that groups who practice humble inquiry, asking genuine questions instead of making arguments, resolve disputes 60% faster than those who take adversarial approaches.
The way you describe that really highlights how we've turned communication into a kind of combat sport.
Right. And here's another surprising finding. Neurological research shows that when people feel attacked in conversations, their amygdala, the brain's threat center, activates, literally making it impossible to process new information effectively.
That explains why heated arguments rarely change anyone's mind.
And get this, historical records show that some of the most influential spiritual leaders throughout history were known for their willingness to appear foolish rather than win arguments. It was actually seen as a sign of wisdom.
And that's such a powerful contrast to our current social media culture where dunking on others is celebrated.
Speaking of social media, recent analysis shows that posts featuring genuine vulnerability and admission of mistakes get shared up to 3 times more than confrontational content. People are hungry for authenticity.
The way you put that makes me think about how we might be accidentally pushing people away from truth by how we present it.
You know what's really striking? When we look at successful peace negotiations throughout history, the breakthrough moments almost always came when one side was willing to show vulnerability first. It's like this universal human pattern.
And that's really challenging work, though, isn't it? Breaking free from those mental shortcuts we all use?
It absolutely is. But the data supports it being worth the effort. Studies show that relationships where partners practice mutual vulnerability and active listening last on average 12 years, longer than those characterized by competitive communication.
Those numbers really drive home the practical impact of how we choose to communicate.
And here's what I find most hopeful. Research indicates that these communication skills can be learned. Even people who score high on confrontational tendencies can reduce their argumentative responses by 40% after just 8 weeks of practice.
That's incredibly encouraging for anyone wanting to make this change. And
looking ahead, I think we're going to see more emphasis on these soft skills in everything from education to workplace culture. The future belongs to those who can bridge divides, not widen them.
That really brings it all together. It's not just about being nice, it's about being effective.
Exactly. As Pope Leo said, we must disarm communication of all prejudice and resentment. When we do that, we're not just changing conversations, we're changing lives.